what's your philosophy in terms of this preparation and getting your team ready for the game versus just working on what you guys are doing?
Well, philosophically, the way I've broken it down is, you know, we had previous to this week, we had 2 weeks where we went Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and it was just more so Tuesday and Thursday was everybody. I gave the seniors Wednesdays off, and that was just throwing and catching, blocking and tackling type of stuff, fairly generic for those first 2 weeks, and I thought they were very beneficial for us. As we get into this week and ensuing week, you know, half the practice is dedicated towards just going against each other and competing with the speed of the game at a high level, competitive type drills. And the other half of the practice is relegated in our preparation for Georgia. The closer we get, the more it leans towards Georgia. I think you have to be careful. You don't want to peak too soon and talk about it too long. It's got to be a special feeling when you're getting ready to play in a bowl game. And so once we get up to Shreveport, it'll pretty much be about 80% Georgia and 20% just competing against each other to keep the speed of the game alive.
Coach, how have you judged the excitement of you guys in this ball game?
Well, I think they're very excited about playing in this ball game. They've watched the tapes and know that we're playing a very quality team, and I've expressed that to them. So I would say they're very, very excited about that.
Coach, how hard is it to prepare your offense when you don't know necessarily what to expect from the other team's defense?
Well, you know, I always think you have to worry more about yourself and how you're doing things anyways, and certainly we have every game that Georgia played this past season. How different they're going to be on game day, we can't worry about that. We'll have to make those adjustments in the course of the game. We've had to do that before, and so because people have changed up how they're going to cover our receivers and how they're going to play us in the context of a game, and I think that's what coaching is all about. And that's the exciting part of coaching, being able to see and make those adjustments with our players on the sidelines. And you know, in talking about this team and their ability to do that, I think we've done a good job of that with our guys. I know on the sidelines numerous times talking to the receivers and the quarterbacks about, hey, this is how they're playing us, we need to do this, we need to do that, and they're into that part of it, about what do we have to do to win this football game. So, you know, the structure of the defense, I'm sure, has to be pretty much a certain way. I'm sure they'll have some different nuances, but we got to worry about Texas A&M, and then when we play the football game, make the necessary adjustments.
How much does it help to have a couple of common opponents this year with Oklahoma State and Arkansas?
It helps in the sense that you see the throwing game more so than anything else. So by having those common opponents and knowing the quality of teams that they are, lets us determine that, you know, it's a pretty talented football team that we're playing.
Some of the young guys in your program, how do these bowl practices, how big of a benefit will they be for you now and down the line?
We're really pushing the envelope and getting everybody to work. You know, we have basically having 2 practices going on at the same time. We have maroon team and white team, and you know, the white team is the redshirt guys, or the guys that probably will not play in the game, and they're preparing this week. I have the GAs working that end of the field with them. They have their own little game plan that's not as expansive as our game plan. They're going to have a scrimmage on Saturday, which the offense and defense determines whoever the winner is, and we'll get an extra hour curfew for the whole group. So it's been kind of an exciting part of practice as the GAs can work against each other with their unit. And so those guys everybody's getting reps. So from that standpoint, the young guys are really getting valuable time, practice time. They're getting videotapes so we can look at them and see where they're at and what they need to accomplish in the spring. From the other side, we have our older guys, or I shouldn't say older guys, our starters and backups are working down the other end, and you know, they're getting more work against each other as well as against the looks that Georgia, we perceive Georgia will give us.
You kind of alluded to this, but you kind of talk about the importance of not only just getting to the bowl game, but winning it. I mean, how have you sold your guys on the importance of this game?
Well, I mean, every game that we enter into is very important to win, you know, obviously, and a bowl game is no exception. You know, the bowl game is somewhat of a reward, but at the same time, it's a tremendous challenge for us. I know the quality of football team that we're playing, and it would certainly get us off on the right foot going into spring and next season to be able to have a victory in this game. Our guys are very excited, and the coaches are very excited about being involved in this football game in Shreveport.
How have Jonathan Stewart and Garrick Williams progressed as the season's gone on?
Jonathan Stewart, I thought, started out a little tentative as he tried to assimilate the information that we presented to him. I thought he started to make a lot of strides and then kind of semi-hit a wall during the course of the latter part of the season. And, you know, we continued to working with him and trying to push him through that wall. Garrick has been injured at different parts of this season. I thought he started out strong and continues to work at that position. He's backed up by Sean Porter, and both of those are competing during this time to see who's going to be the starter in Shreveport.
Obviously, Coach Rick had his reasons for making the changes he made right after the season, but when you look at their defense on film, I mean, what do you see?
Well, I see a very talented group of defensive players. They roll their defensive front through on a regular basis. I mean, they just have interchangeable parts in their front guys. The linebackers, I remember when I was in Green Bay and doing the draft, you know, if you want to find linebackers that can run, you go to Georgia, and there's no exception. They have very fast linebackers that chase the ball and really very, very explosive guys. Their secondary is, they have good length, they're fast, and they do a good job of getting their hands on you and football. So I think they're a good defense.
What's the most impressive part of their offense?
The most impressive part of their offense, obviously, number 8 is a heck of a football player. I think that their running game, when they want to run the football and tie things down in their two-back offense, with their offensive line, a big offensive line, they can come off the football and knock you off the ball.
When you decided to go with this kind of up-tempo offense, are you pleased with the results? I mean, in terms of what you've done? I know you always want more, but it seems like you would be based on y'all's numbers.
Well, I knew last year at the end of the season I had to change things up a little bit. Number one, it started with the communication process of the quarterback, and I felt like we had to have some type of edge offensively over our opponents because I knew we were going to play with a bunch of young guys, which I think at some point this year we had 6 freshman starters. So I knew I had to do something, so we started in the off-season conditioning program where we really conditioned them like a basketball team. And even now we run before practice, oftentimes we'll do our gases, our running, before we even start practice, just to wear them down a little bit before they even start practice so they'll fight through that. And I think the conditioning part of it is you look at offensive line. I was talking to Coach Turner, and the fact that we don't have injuries in the offensive line, I think, can be somewhat attributed to the fact that they're in pretty dang good shape and you know, have been challenged to no end as far as getting ready for the next play. I do think that the fact that we have, I think next to Houston, I think we have the second most plays run in the NCAA. I was concerned when we did it because I thought I was going to put our defense in a precarious position if we hurried up offense and we were 3 and out. You know, 12 seconds is off the clock. You know, that it was going to be a difficult challenge. But fortunately, we've been pretty good on getting first downs throughout the course of the season. But to answer your question, I feel it's helped our run game because I feel. More so than anything, if you look at our statistics, and I don't spend much time doing that, but at the end of the season I did, you know, our passing game improved probably about 20 yards per game, but our run game more than doubled. And I think part of it is the fact that we're able to wear people down, and our run game in the second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter was much improved from where it was a year ago.